All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Persuasion by the Pint. This is episode 47. I'm Jonathan Taylor, along with
Sean McCool.
And Sean, we're still broadcasting live from Print Shot Company. Great place.
Yep.
Great location. And we've got a guest joining us today.
Yeah, Jake Rouse. Did I say that correctly, Jason?
Yep. We got, let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Cool.
So, Jake, we're pulling up. We're pulling up your information, and I'm just going to go over. I'm going to introduce you, Jake. Jake is with Braxton Brewing Company. He's the co-founder and CEO. He's an avid craft beer fan. Jake is fired up about reinventing the tap room by introducing new and unique ways to enhance the beer drinking experience. His passion lies in the intersection of technology, beer, and entrepreneurship, something we talk about a lot on this show. Beer, entrepreneurship, marketing, persuasion, all that stuff. We love it. After studying entrepreneurship at Indiana University, he spent the past 4 years at ExactTarget and Salesforce.com, two really cool companies developing strategic alliances with companies like Adobe, Microsoft, SAP, Oracle, in an effort to help brands better connect with their customers through digital channels. Well, you've made quite the breakaway.
I think we have outpunted our coverage on
Absolutely. Jake, thanks so much, man, for coming on and sharing a little bit about your experience.
No, thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So why don't we start out, I tell you what, we're going to start out, Sean and I are going to start out by introducing what we're having on the show. I don't know if you have a beverage in front of you, but we have a couple of, we have two beers in front of us. Actually, they're the same thing. So Sean's going to tell us.
Here at Print Shop Beer Company, I had to look at the board. We're having Serrated Edge, which is a strong ale. So it's not usually what we drink. We're usually a porter stout, but the first drink was like definitely strong, especially coming from what we came from.
Yeah,
but
it's good. I like it.
3 or 4 sips in, I'm beginning to enjoy it more and more. So Serrated Edge.
My tongue is still intact with the Serrated Edge, so
that's good. So, but it's kind of a reddish, colored ale, and it's what is it, 7.2%.
7.2%.
Yeah, so.
Well, that's a little bit of a...
Following an 8.9. So.
A little bit of a step down, but still good.
Right.
It's very, very good. I like it.
Yeah,
I like
it's good. So, but let's get into the star of the show today.
Yeah. So, Jake, why don't you start out by sharing a little bit about your background? We've kind of given a brief introduction. Share a little bit about yourself, and then let's talk about what your transition or transitioning from your background in the corporate world to Braxton Brewing, and maybe give us a little information on that.
Yeah, so thanks again, guys. I appreciate you having us. My brother and I started Braxton here. We just celebrated our 4-year anniversary.
Congrats.
Back here in March, and it's been an absolute whirlwind. I spent, prior to launching Braxton, about 5 years in the technology space, working hand in hand with a couple of entrepreneurs to build businesses, and ultimately ended up working for Salesforce for quite a bit of time. And in all honesty, I talk a lot about it. I've been a passionate entrepreneur for a long time. My brother is really the talent behind Braxton. He's the brainchild creating the recipes, left and right. And really we spend a lot of time kind of as a yin and a yang working together to make sure that we've been able to create a business. So over the past 4 years, we've seen just absolute incredible growth. Actually, at the end of this year, we anticipate that we'll probably come close to that 30,000 barrel mark. And it's been just a really, really, really great blast. But I would not have been able to do it had not I had that experience in technology. The similarities are so unique in that the business models are very, very similar, because you've got high growth, you've got this need to expand, and the ability to grow a business based off of innovation. And so that's what we kind of founded Braxton on, was creating really high quality beers around innovation and doing a lot of very, very special things with it.
So how did you come up with the name? I'm just curious. Braxton, is that is that a name in the family, or is that based off of something that's related that you or someone you're relating to, or?
That's awesome. Yeah, no, we got the name Braxton because my brother and I both grew up on Braxton Drive in Union, Kentucky, and he began, really brewing in our garage on Braxton Drive, and we kind of carried that motif all the way through the building. Just the whole idea that anybody can start something truly special in their garage, and trying to capture that entrepreneurial spirit and story of the American dream is something that we've been able to really do well.
That's really cool. I mean, I love the garage story. When I'm not doing Persuasion by the Pine, I work for a company called Capitalism.com, and we champion that story of build a business, invest the profits, create the change you want to see in the world, whatever that is. Whether it's better beer or whatever it is, like we're all for it, as long as the government's not doing it and private enterprise is.
Amen. Sounds like you guys had a great partnership coming together. I mean, you mentioned your brother is kind of the guy. He's the guy that puts these, that kind of puts the recipes together. And you're the guy out there that's got a background in marketing. Yeah, you've worked for companies like Salesforce. You're an entrepreneur. Pretty good combination. You guys coming together like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that honestly is what makes, what I think makes most breweries work or not, right? It's do you have the ability to create the business model that you need to be successful? There's a ton of great beer in America, but it's really about making sure that you can find the right market for it, the right price point, the story, all of that. So we've worked really well together over the past few years.
So Jake, I have a question. You've worked in what most people would consider very different industries, technology and now in brewing, and you said they're actually very similar. What are some of the universal principles, of marketing and running a business that you see between the two that make you say just how similar they are? And can you expand? I know you mentioned a few of them, but can you expand on that a bit?
Yeah, I think, realistically, the biggest universal principle is that, no products can build themselves. You have to really create a team around everything that you do and make sure that the culture of the team that you have is one of shared values. So, at Braxton, we're about 50 plus people strong now, and we've really spent a lot of time at making sure that the people that, come to work for us every day fit in, and they all amazing business from the ground up and win together. And I think that's the biggest one. Is it doesn't matter if you're in tech, if you're in the airline industry, if you're in beer, the ability to really, have a culture that everyone can celebrate is absolutely critical.
Sure.
And then on top of that, it's the idea that you don't ever want to grow too fast. I mean, in technology, you see a lot of companies that can start, and the ability to expand is a lot easier in tech. You just kind of call Amazon Web Services and they add server space and you go. But, in beer, it's the same way. It's being able to make sure that you plan everything around the business to make sure that the quality of the product maintains itself. You guys have heard a lot of, things that have launched online, but the server fails or the website fails the minute that there's so much demand. And it's similar in beer. I mean, you've got to make sure that before you open up a market outside of your hometown that you've got the QA QC lab and the team of people running the science on the beer to make sure that they know how that beer is going to travel. And so I think that, the time that I spent in tech could not have been better suited for what I'm doing now in beer.
Very cool. So Jake, I noticed we're looking at your website and I'm looking at the branding of the Core Series, and you've got a very kind of interesting look and feel, that you've chosen for your marketing. And I know you mentioned the Garage Series, but how did you come up with that? Is that something you did personally? Your brother did, or did y'all hire an outside firm? I'm just curious. I mean, it's a great kind of throwback looking brand.
I love that logo.
How'd you come up with that?
Yeah, we really wanted to stay true to who we are, right? And so ultimately, Evan and I are two guys that grew up from humble roots in the Midwest and really wanted to stay true to that entire American dream story. I mean, we get to wake up every day working with friends. So we wanted that to translate into the brands that we have. Most recently we released a brand called Garage Beer, which is just an everyday, every man's lager that we sell in a 15-pack for $15.99. And that product is really the culmination of 3 years worth of effort of being able to create amazingly approachable beers that people really want and enjoy. And so ultimately we basically, work together to make sure that we do that. And we want the brand to look and feel approachable to all walks of life.
I think it's amazing that that you have a brand called Garage Beer and that has not already, like, one of my favorite beers is 10W40 because I just love the can and it's super simple and it's a dark beer that looks like 10W40. We're close to Asheville, so we get a lot of High Wire Brewing. I think is who makes that one. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I love the cans. Like Jonathan and I are drooling over here over the Dead Blow Tropical Stout because we're dark beer guys. So
we're definitely going to be ordering some of that for an upcoming episode to test.
Fantastic.
So what's your? I'm curious. What's your favorite of the beers that you brewed? Like, what's your or first yours, like one of your brands, and then what's your favorite outside of one of the ones that you produce?
Yeah, my favorite beer that we make hands down is Summer Trip. It's just an absolutely incredible, easy to drink Berliner Weiss with a hint of passion fruit. It is one of those things that, it's easy to crush at 4% alcohol. You can kind of kick back and enjoy it with friends. And the brand is just really fun to market. Like, it's, fun activities with the summer. The can is bright blue and yellow. It's a blast.
That is cool.
The other beers that I really like to drink outside of our brand, I'm a huge fan of New England IPAs. We actually just released one. It took us quite a bit of time to be able to create this. We actually was able to revive a brewery that was going out of business about a mile and a half from the brewery here in Covington, Kentucky, and we created just an innovation facility called Braxton Labs. We've used that innovation facility to basically work on scaling New England style IPAs. So how can you make it consistent and high quality so that you can put it and make it shelf stable for 5 months that a wholesaler will actually sell it? And, we were able to nail that with Tropic Flair. But to me, like, that inspiration came from working and drinking with a lot of the Alchemist and Heady Topper and a lot of the Tree House and all those brands that I've come to love over the course of a few years in this industry.
That's really cool. So I'm curious, we talk a lot about persuasion and influence and marketing and sales. Like, how do you decide what to go after as far as a market? Like, how do you decide that? I would think that's a big investment for you guys to come up with a type of beer and to test it and to all the stuff that I don't have any idea what goes into all that, but I know it's a lot. Like, how do you choose what to go after?
Yeah, that's a great point. And then tasting is really, really hard, right? Because a lot of time and effort it goes into making sure that you are chasing the right things. For us, we actually are one of the first breweries in the Midwest to release a hard seltzer. We released a brand called Vibe that is a really easy to drink, 0 or 5% alcohol, 100 calories hard seltzer. And what it all comes down to is our platform, our business, everything that we do was built on innovation and being able to create products and do things at scale. And so when we worked really hard to create Vive and really, the analysis we did to make sure that any of the products we create, it all goes through significant consumer testing. But more importantly, it goes through a ton of iteration from our brewing and quality team. They spend just an ample amount of time in making sure that every single product that we create is up to our standards, that can be repeated, and can, really, once it hits the shelf, that the consumer can taste all the effort that we put into creating the brand.
Well, I can say, Sean and I have been kind of scrolling through your website, and we love. We're not huge IPA fans, but I tell you, some of your dark beers. We were looking at the what was the one stout?
Dark Charge.
Yeah, Dark Charge. Yeah, this Dark Charge bourbon barrel aged looks amazing. So we will definitely be. That will be definitely a sampled beer that will be on our show.
We should take a field trip to Kentucky.
Yeah, absolutely. You say Covington? Where in location is that?
Hey, you know what? If there's
no, go ahead.
Yeah, so Covington. You can see the city of Cincinnati.
Okay.
From the brewery.
So right above Lexington.
We're right on the tip of northern Kentucky,
okay.
We've worked really hard on creating Dark Charge. It's a one-day-a-year release, the first Saturday in December. Mm-hmm. I'd love to have you guys down for the event. It's absolutely incredible. We see about 10,000 people come through. We release the bottles. It's a big food and beer festival. But we created that brand specifically because we're in Kentucky, right? We're in Kentucky, and to be in Kentucky, you got to know a thing or two about bourbon. So, our access to barrels is pretty phenomenal, and we really wanted to create a brand that paid ode to everything that is great about being in Kentucky.
Very cool. We just noticed a little banner on your website that says now reaching Knoxville in Eastern Tennessee, which is where we are. Yep. So we're trying to figure out where we can go next to grab some near us.
It looks like.
Great. Where are you? Are you in Knoxville?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're actually at a print shop beer company. They do their own brewing here, but we're on a strip, like one of the kind of the old New Again sides of town, right on we're literally looking out the front door of Print Shop Beer Company at the Tennessee River, off of James White Parkway and that area.
Oh, okay.
And there's 4 or 5 new kind of microbrews going on right here, so it's kind of a up and coming little microbrew section of town. But yeah, we both live a little bit outside of Knoxville, mm-hmm. but Knoxville is we're both within 15 minutes of Knoxville.
Well, are you guys familiar with Double Dogs down there?
Oh yeah. Love Double Dogs.
Yeah, we work really closely with the Double Dogs team. We actually make their house beer, Diddley Lager.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I was actually there last weekend. Had a breakfast dog, which is my favorite dog, with hot dog with bacon and eggs on top.
Oh man,
it's so good. Yeah, so I'll definitely have to. Do they carry your other brands, or you just make their main one?
They do. Most of them carry Tropic Flair.
Very cool. All right, so we'll definitely have to go check that out. Now we got another location.
Absolutely, to broadcast.
It's that time of year to get out and do live events. So
yeah. This is a fun time of year. We go on location. Sometimes we broadcast out of studio office, but these days like this are fun where we get to go to different places. So we'll keep that definitely on the radar.
So Jake, I've got one last question, then we can wrap up. I know you're a busy guy, so we talk to a lot of entrepreneurs on this show. A lot of people who are either starting businesses or have been in business a while and looking for that edge. If you could give some advice to entrepreneurs who want to grow their business, and I know this is a big question, so, but if you had one piece of wisdom to pass on to our inebriated friends, what would that be when it comes to business and building a business or building a brand that they could take and think about while they're having their next brew?
Yeah, that's a great question. In all honesty, what I actually try to speak to entrepreneurs quite a bit because it's a really unique group of people, and a lot of us kind of look at the world a little differently. But what I always tell people when you guys go to do something, the only advice I can give you is to do it right. Mm-hmm. Like the biggest thing is actually Braxton's number one core value is to never cut corners. We don't cut corners. Like, and when you're going to go do something, you're going to take a risk. You're going to follow your dreams and your passion to create something absolutely amazing. And it's really easy to take the easy way out. And what I think has been true about Braxton since the day we opened is we've never cut a corner. Like whether it's through a facility creation, whether it's through anything at all, we've not cut a corner. And it really does show. And I think that, that's the biggest advice I give people. Like, make sure that you follow through on what you say you're going to do and do everything right. And you really can't fail if you do that.
I think that's incredible advice. And I think it's so important in like the age of where everybody's connected and social media and how quickly your reputation can be ruined. Like,
yes,
you really, it's just good business. Not only is it the right thing to do, it's just good business practice to, like you said, not cut corners. So I think that's a great piece of advice for our listeners.
Jake, man, it's been a pleasure having you on. I'm curious, just for our listeners out there who want to find out more, obviously they can visit Braxton Brewing. If they don't live close to your area, they can go to braxtonbrewing.com. I notice you've got a store, obviously, on the website. Can people order a lot of these beers that you have through the website?
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't ship them directly, but we have recently started a relationship with Tavor.
Okay.
And Tavor does a lot of the shipping for us. So,
okay.
And then that being said, they've been great. We've worked closely with them, and I'm excited about where that's headed.
Absolutely.
Are you in the Total Wine stores? And if not, we can edit this out.
We are, absolutely.
Okay, cool. So
awesome.
They just came to Knoxville in the last year, so we'll definitely have to check that out. Probably this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. We're really interested in getting our hands on this Dark Charge. Man, I love how everything down to the packaging. You put the wax, the wax seals on the top.
It's like he doesn't cut corners.
No. Yeah, I know. Where have I heard that before? I think he just mentioned that. But it's so true. Exactly what you said. You're, down to the slightest detail, in your packaging, the way you present. It's really impressive, and it's been a pleasure to have you on, Jake.
Thank you guys so much. And like I said, first Saturday in December, if you'd like to come up to Dark Charge Day, we'd certainly love to host.
Yeah. Is that a one-day event, a full-day event, or is it through the weekend?
Yep.
Okay, first Saturday in December.
First Saturday, okay.
It is on my calendar. We will be there.
Excellent.
We'll hook up with you offline and get the details. But yeah, we'll bring the podcast live.
Mm-hmm. That would be so fun.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Jake, man, it has been a pleasure. Again, you can find out more about Braxton Brewing by visiting them, braxtonbrewing.com. Also, you can find them. You might be able to find them wherever you're located at one of your fine beverage establishments. Yeah. But definitely go to their website, braxtonbrewing.com. Check them out. They've even got a blog, kind of keep you up to date on events that are happening. And Jake, it's been a pleasure, man. We look forward to getting this out, and when we do, we'll be sending over the link and putting it out, man. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Yep.